The sun doesn't set on the British Empire, the sun doesn't set on Case Constructions. That's where you stand. Don't ever forget that. I learned that working at a global company myself. Invest for growth, yes, but then I started thinking about this as I work with a lot of business owners like you. I'm not talking to the corporate crowd here, let me be very honest about this. मैं बिजनेस ओनर से बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं भी बिजनेस ओनर हूँ, राइट? मेरी इश्यूज क्या है, मेरे चैलेंजेस क्या है, क्या चीजें मेरे पास आती हैं, हो सकता है मैं बहुत बेसिक बातें करूँ, दैट्स ऑल राइट। कभी कभी वो बेसिक चीजें बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं सोचने के लिए। You have to go back and think about them and see what that works. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about essentially mindset कैसे चेंज करना है। mindset को हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं भाई? दृष्टिकोण। आपका सोचने का ढंग किसी चीज के बारे में क्या है, that makes a big difference, right? And let's revisit that. Let's go back and take a step back there. सबसे पहले आपसे मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, भैया आपकी बिजनेस सर्वाइवल मोड में है या ग्रोथ मोड में? ग्रोथ में। How many people say my business is in growth mode? ऐसे नहीं चलेगा, ऐसे नहीं चलेगा। हाथ उठाना तो पूरा उठाओ। हाँ, वेरी गुड। चलो, growth mode is a good mode. Let's go and have a look at what we mean essentially by growth mode. We'll talk about that. और growth mode में आने के लिए क्या करना है? मैं सुबह यहाँ नहीं था, मैं दोपहर में आया, मगर मैंने चोरी छुपे ना पीछे बैठ के शलभ की सारी स्लाइड देख ली। 2024 में किसी को याद है इस वक्त एवरेज नंबर ऑफ मशीन्स पर डीलर कितनी बेच रहे हैं आप लोग? भूल गए? 70। 2030 में क्या प्लान है, कितना आएगा? 2040 में कितना आएगा? सॉरी, ऊंचा बोलो यार। अबे 230 में आ रहे थे, 150, 200 आएंगे आपके 2040 में। 2047 में कितने हैं? 1000। तो अभी ऐसे ही एक बीज लगा दो, अपने आप ही बड़ा हो जाएगा। नहीं, will it go there by itself? It won't go there by itself. Things don't grow organically like that. In fact, this conversation in the panel discussion was also very interesting. Things don't move organically यार। आप मतलब जो 40 साल का 45 साल का आदमी आपके यहाँ काम कर रहा है, उसका जो सोचने का ढंग है, उसका जो काम करने का ढंग है, उसको आप आज 25 साल के लड़के से अगर मिलाप कर रहे हो तो नहीं होगा भाई। कुछ तो बदलना पड़ेगा, हाँ या ना? हाँ, अब बात है ना। So we've got to start thinking about this a little bit differently. आज के एजेंडा में क्या है? ग्रोथ और सर्वाइवल बिजनेस के बारे में थोड़ी सी डिस्कशन कर लेते हैं। आप अपने आप ही असेस कर लेना, खुद ही असेस कर लेना, आप ग्रोथ बिजनेस में हो या आप सर्वाइवल बिजनेस में हो। आई विल लीव इट टू यू, राइट? देन यू कैन, आई डोंट वांट अ शो ऑफ हैंड्स आफ्टर दैट। I really don't. Okay. Next is what does it take to get into being a growth business? ये ग्रोथ बिजनेस क्या है, कैसे घुसे उसमें? तीसरा ये, भैया आपको क्या करना है एज अ बिजनेस ओनर ग्रोथ बिजनेस में जाने के लिए? गुड क्वेश्चन और नो? Yes or no? Maybe. Okay, tell me what you are supposed to do as a business owner if you want to be in a growth business. I have a lovely way of asking for volunteers. एक तो बड़ा डेमोक्रेटिक तरीका है। पहला तो चलो पूछ लेते हैं, आस्क, वुड यू लाइक टू वॉलंटियर एंड आंसर? यूजुअली लोग वॉलंटियर नहीं करते हैं, कोई भी पसंद नहीं करता है। दूसरा बड़ा डेमोक्रेटिक तरीका है, ये क्या है? पेंसिल। मेरी आंखें कहाँ हैं? ये तो जानते हैं है ना, मेरी आंखें यहाँ हैं। अब मेरी आंखें कहाँ हैं? दूसरी तरफ देख रही हैं। क्या मैं आपको देख सकता हूं? अब मैं ये पेंसिल फेंकूंगा पीछे की तरफ, जिसके पास गिर गई वही वॉलंटियर है। यस सर, देयर यू आर। What do you have to do as a leader, as a business owner? आपको क्या करना है ग्रोथ बिजनेस में? ग्रोथ बिजनेस के लिए कोई मदद भी कर सकते हैं यहाँ पे यार, कोई ऐसा?
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, ग्रोथ इज नॉट अलोन।
हाँ,
ग्रोथ आपका अकेला नहीं है। जब आप ग्रोथ के बारे में सोचो, अगर अपनी टीम की ग्रोथ के बारे में सोच रहे हो तो ऑटोमेटिकली आपकी ग्रोथ होगी।
yes, that's a great point.
बिजनेस डज बिकॉज यू डज नॉट ग्रो अलोन।
Business doesn't grow by itself. Growth
grow by
doesn't happen
itself.
by itself. It's a
So,
team game.
team
Give
game.
my hand, yeah. Somebody else want to give it a shot? I'll take one more. One more.
इट्स ए प्लानिंग एज ए टीम अगर कुछ करना चाहते हो तो आपके पास प्लान होना चाहिए कि मैं क्या करना चाहता हूँ
Planning.
मेरा अचीवमेंट क्या है वो क्या होने वाला है इससे आपको पार्ट में करना चाहिए कि मैं फर्स्ट ईयर क्या करूँगा जो सर ने बताया था कि 2025 में क्या होगा 2030 में क्या होगा 2035 में क्या होगा 2047 कैसे पहुँचेंगे तो आप उसको डिवाइड करो एक सड्डी बाई सड्डी तो हो सकता है कुछ रास्ता आपको मिलेगा अदरवाइज
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. 2 points. You need to plan, you need a team, right? What was the discussion just now? Team तो भागी जा रही है भाई. टीम तो भागी जा रही है. ये ग्रोथ बिजनेस कहाँ से आएगा? और दूसरा एक बड़ा एम्बैरेसिंग सवाल पूछता हूँ आपसे. इस कमरे में कितने बिजनेस ओनर जो हाथ खड़ा करके सीना ठोक के बोल सकते हैं मेरे पास एक लिखित में 5 साल का बिजनेस प्लान है? How many people can raise their hand, put their hands on their heart and say, I have a 5-year business plan written down on a piece of paper? I'll ask you an even more embarrassing question, right? When you write a business plan, what are its components? उसमें क्या क्या होता है? को ये मत बताना कि रेवेन्यू और प्रॉफिट लिख लेते हैं हम, वो मुझे मालूम है. एक बिजनेस प्लान के अंदर क्या क्या लिखा जाता है? बीज डाल देंगे, पानी डाल देंगे, उग जाएगा? नहीं होगा सर. So let's talk about this. शाम का टाइम है, थोड़े थके हुए हैं, कोई बात नहीं. इस टाइम पिटाई करने में और भी मजा आता है. कोई लड़ता नहीं ना. Because where do we have to get to? We'll talk about your role as a business owner. We'll talk about 3 skills. Yeah, this is a very important statement. You need to build this organization. It's not going to happen by itself. It can't be a charitable organization. ये एक commercial organization होगी, right? इसको profitable बनाना है, वरना उसको grow करने में बैठ जाओगे भाई. Right? It should be profitable. It should be an enterprise. And this is the most important thing. How many people here can again raise their hands and say, I will have the same level of energy and the same level of enthusiasm to run my business in 2047 as I have today? What's my succession for my business? मेरे बच्चे मेरी बिजनेस चलाएंगे या मैं अपनी 2-3 करोड़ रुपए बना के उनको अमेरिका में पढ़ा के कुछ और करने को भेज दिया और वो वहां लग गए हैं? या मैं ये बिजनेस किसी को बेच दूंगा? क्या खरीदेगा आपकी बिजनेस में? कोई कस्टमर खरीदेगा? प्रोडक्ट खरीदेगा? क्या खरीदेगा? एक सिस्टम खरीदेगा जिसमें अगर आप कल गायब हो गए, मैं हट गया, ये रही मेरी बिजनेस, ये अपने आप चल जाएगी? How many people can say that if I stay out of my business for 30 days, it's going to run on its own, there's going to be no difference at all? Or maybe a marginal difference. We don't know. It's a very difficult question to answer. So how do you get to a point where you build a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you? Let's talk about all this, right? Don't forget to take notes. It's always a good thing to take notes. Let's talk about what a survival business is and what a growth business is. Because your sales grew from 20 crores to 23 crores between last year and this year does not mean that you're a growth business. It just means that revenue grew by 11%, 15%, whatever the hell it was, right? Let's have a look at what this means. If your business is one where you're sitting and saying, यार आज मुझे इस महीने इतनी सेल लगानी है, इतना कलेक्शन करना है ताकि तनख्वाह दे दूं लोगों को, सारे खर्चे दे दूं और फिर कुछ बचे तो उसको मैं घर ले जाऊं, तो आप सर्वाइवल बिजनेस में है सर, ग्रोथ बिजनेस नहीं है आपकी. चाहे पिछले महीने से ज्यादा आपका धंधा हुआ, कोई बात नहीं, right? As opposed to that, what does a growth business do? They don't think about this month's expenses. That's going to happen. They think about, how am I going to scale this? How am I going to replicate this? How am I going to grow this? Survival businesses are those who say, hey, you know what? I have great product expertise, I have great service expertise. और अब मैं दफ्तर में बैठा हूँ, कस्टमर अपने आप आएगा और मैं सप्लाई करूँगा. ऐसा नहीं होता भाई, कोई नहीं आएगा. It's not going to happen. Do you think it happens? Doesn't happen, right? What do these guys do? Of course they have great product and service skills, but they have great skills in generating revenue. ये भाग रहे होते हैं बेचने के लिए. अब देखिए, एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आपको देता हूँ. पिछले साल, like Gunjan said, I worked with the company and I continue to work on certain areas. And I know that we could do better as a community, both the company as well as the leadership. We could do better on this aspect. तीसरी चीज, We react to marketing or sales. How many people believe here that the best way to do business or the best way to grow your business is through repeat business, referrals, and things like that? Yeah. It's a great way because it costs less to do the business. But are referrals in your control? आपके कंट्रोल में है रेफरल कस्टमर का? कस्टमर की रिपीट बिजनेस आपके कंट्रोल में है? नहीं है। कितनी है? कौन कहता है? Who says? आज आपका जो एग्जिस्टिंग कस्टमर है, जहां पे आप खूब बढ़िया काम कर रहे हो, आपके पास बिजनेस आता जा रहा है, कल को कोई और जाके वहां पे कुछ करने लगे तो क्या करोगे आप? आपके कंट्रोल में नहीं है सर. It's not really in your control, right? Word of mouth is not in your control. कौन आपके बारे में क्या बोल रहा है आपके कंट्रोल में है? नहीं है. तो ये तो बड़ी मतलब मुश्किल सिचुएशन आ गई ना, if we have to deal only with this. Here we are talking about spending 80% of your time on value adding through marketing, making people see all of those things because of which they should do business with you. Even your existing customers, even those who give referrals to you, even those who do word of mouth, plus of course the ones who do new business. अब एक शोले का डायलॉग मारूं? बोला ही नहीं इरशाद कहां से यार? इतना सन्नाटा क्यों है भाई? Anybody remember this dialogue? Who said it? एक ही अंकल. हाँ, इतना सन्नाटा क्यों है भाई? और ये चौथा जो है ये किलर है यार. सर्वाइवल बिजनेसेस में द ओनर डज एवरीथिंग है. देखिए 5 चीजें होती हैं मेन इश्यूज जो किसी भी बिजनेस में. एक तो ओनर है, बिजनेस ओनर है, वो बिजनेस करता है किसके लिए? अपने लिए करता है, राइट? ओनर ने एम्प्लॉइज, ओनर के पास एम्प्लॉइज होते हैं, यस और नो? ओनर बिजनेस प्रोसेसेस क्रिएट करता है, यस और नो? अरे अच्छा. जो बिजनेस प्रोसेस है वो किसके लिए क्रिएट करता है? अपने ऑपरेशंस के लिए और कस्टमर को सर्विस करने के लिए करता है, ठीक है ना? कस्टमर क्या देता है? रेवेन्यू देता है. कस्टमर बिजनेस देता है. उस बिजनेस से क्या होता है? बिजनेस ओनर जो है अपना ख्याल रखता है भाई. दैट्स व्हाई यू आर इन बिजनेस एट द एंड ऑफ द डे. You're not in business to struggle and take away 5,000 rupees a month and pay somebody 5 lakh rupees a month यार. You want to drive that Mercedes, don't you? थोड़ा सा तो मतलब वो है ना greed. Greed नहीं है तो गलत जगह हो भाई. If you don't want a good quality of life, अगर आपको मतलब 10 करोड़ 20 करोड़ का मकान नहीं चाहिए और आपको वो क्या नाम कहीं यूरोप में छुट्टी नहीं करनी है तो क्या कर रहे हो इसमें यार? नौकरी कर लो कहीं पे, right? You have the whole idea is you want this, you want the business to do something for you. These are the 5 things. Sad part of it is that in survival businesses, the business owner is taking care of all 5. कस्टमर का भी वही ध्यान रखता है, प्रोसेसेस का भी वही ध्यान रखता है, कस्टमर का भी वही ध्यान रखता है, वो हर चीज की मतलब वो खुद ही बिजनेस का भी वही ध्यान रखता है. भाई इनसे तो क्लोज होगा नहीं, 4 सेल्समैन रखे हुए कॉल पे घुस जा रहे हैं. What is the real sequence? The real sequence is when you get the processes right, when you get a function-driven business. As a business owner, your job, and I'm sorry to put it this way, our job, as business owners, our job is to take care of our employees. What is the employee's job? Their job is to run the processes. What is the job of the processes? To take care of the customer's needs. What is the customer's job? It's not his job, but what is the function of the customer? He gives us the business. What does the business do? It takes care of me as the business owner. You've got to get that sequence right, and that's how this whole function game plays out. Now tell me, are you a growth business? Are you a survival business? So one mindset that you'll have to change is one mindset you'll have to change is this. A lot of us just hope that we'll start getting returns from something without making an investment. Is it possible? That was not loud enough. Can you get returns without an investment? Well, not loud enough. If somebody can tell me of an instrument that gives returns without capital investment, I will change my mind. It doesn't work that way, okay? So the first investment that you've got to make out of 4, I'm going to talk about 4 investments. First investment you've got to make is this, in the time that you spend. Look, I'll just try and topicalize that. आप लोग इतना डिस्कशन कर रहे थे, बड़ा अच्छा डिस्कशन लग रहा था मुझे. जो पैनल डिस्कशन हुआ था, रियली प्रैक्टिकल, रियल situations and the way people react to them. I think it was a fantastic discussion. My mind went back to a time जब मैं Microsoft में काम करता था. मेरा एक मैनेजर हुआ करता था, बहुत बिजी आदमी था वो. आप लोग बिजी हैं? नहीं. Not busy? Yes or no? No. No, sir. I just wanted to ask, are you busy? I think most of you would be fairly busy. Yes or no? Yes. Yeah. My boss was also very busy. I once had a discussion with an HR person who came from the region, from Singapore. And they said, what is your biggest challenge? I said, I haven't had a one-to-one with my boss, my immediate boss, in the last 90 days. Why not? He doesn't have the time. Right? What does he keep doing? It got me thinking about this discussion. What are you doing? What are you spending your time on? And then I started looking at, or pictures started running in my head. किन businessmen के साथ काम किया है पिछले, आप ये मानिए 2 साल में, हर तरह के हैं. एक वो इंडस्ट्रियल फास्टनर्स में ट्रेडिंग करते हैं, एक जेनसेट्स बनाते हैं. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट people who have businesses that are 8 to 20 crores, so 1 or 2 or 50 crores. एक गुड़गांव में रहता हूँ तो लाजमी है कि कोई ऑटोमोटिव कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चरर भी होगा जो मारुति को सप्लाई करता है. 7-8 लोगों के साथ मैंने काम किया है. मैं उनके ऑफिस में जाता हूँ, हमारी मीटिंग होती है तो मुझे कई बार बिठा देते हैं सोफे पे, बाहर तो नहीं बिठाते, सोफे पे बिठा देते हैं कि भाई गिव मी 2 मिनट्स. हो क्या रहा होता है? मटेरियल शिप होना है तो उसका पूरा जो डिटेल है वो आया, साहब देखेंगे, उसको साइन करेंगे, तब तक मटेरियल नहीं जाएगा. इनवॉइस अगर किसी कस्टमर को करना है तो साहब पहले देखेंगे ठीक हुआ कि नहीं हुआ. अगर कोई भी वाउचर बनना है तो साहब उसको साइन करेंगे, चेक है तो साहब साइन करेंगे, रोज शाम को कैश साहब चेक करेंगे. आप भी करते हो क्या? नहीं करते हो ना? बहुत अच्छा करते हो अगर नहीं करते हो, क्योंकि जो करते हैं उन्होंने कुछ नहीं बोला अभी. राइट? all I'm urging you to do is, first investment you have to make is to evaluate what are you spending your time on. यहाँ पे कौन है जो बता सकता है आपके दिन का एक, हिंदी में नहीं बोलूँ, what is the value of 1 hour of yours? The value of that time. Do you know how to calculate it? Have you calculated the value of 1 hour of your time? नहीं किया ना? किया है? कितना है? बोल ही नहीं रहा यार. Don't tell यार. It's fine, don't tell. I'll tell you how I would simply look at it. If I work 220 days in a year, I would take the revenue I generate in a year and divide it by 20 days. If I work 8 hours in that, I take 220 into 8, divide the total revenue by that, and that's the value of my hour. Because I say that if I'm not in the office, my business wouldn't run. So almost all of it is because of me. That's the value of 1 hour. Do you invest money? स्टॉक मार्केट में डालते हो, कहीं पे डालते हो? आपको कौन सी डील अच्छी लगती है? क्या कितना मुनाफा ठीक रहता है? एक साल में कितना बढ़ना चाहिए पैसा? 20%? कोई 20 बोलेगा, कोई 50 बोलेगा. यंगर पीपल हु आर टेकिंग बिगर रिस्क विल से आई वांट टू डबल माय मनी, व्हाटएवर द हेल इट इज, राइट? व्हाटएवर योर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू इज. So if in your investment in the stock market you want 1 rupee to go to 2 rupees in 1 year, how much do you want that worth of 1 hour to go in 1 year in your business? Right? And how much time are you spending on that, thinking about that? How much time are you spending doing things that don't add any value to your business? Right? That's the first investment. You really got to look at what you're spending your time on and see where you go and do that kind of work. I'm going to teach you another thing. बैठे बहुत रहते हो यार, खड़े हो जाओ. मैंने एक बार ये सीखा था. I had learned from somebody, I don't know who it was. He said that you don't get results by learning something, you get action by doing. Do you agree with that? Very good. Now, I can't, obviously in an environment like this, I can't get you to do anything, right? कोई काम तो मैं करवा नहीं सकता भाई, टाइम कैसे मैं मैनेज करूंगा आपका यहाँ बैठ के? इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल ना. बट वी कैन ऑलवेज डू अ रिचुअल. Okay, and that ritual, let me show how it is, how it's done, then we'll talk about, then you do it, okay? I'll lead it, you do it. We'll stand like this, and we put our right hand out like this and our left hand out like this. And then we say, I am going to stop spending time in my business. Stop spending time in my business, and I'm going to do work on my business. Work on my business with a whoosh. That's better. There are 4 learnings, and we'll do a whoosh 4 times today, okay? The second investment is in building systems. This is a serious thing. This is a serious thing. I mean, okay, I've spoken a lot of things that might otherwise count as serious as well. I'm just thinking about 7 systems. Every business should have these systems, and the systems should run in tandem. When I said, when you write a business plan, what are its I'm watching that closely, Shalab. I can see a big watch. You can only see a small one. So when I say that when you write a plan, what are its components? I'll unveil that right here. Right? Let's be clear for efficiency and scale's sake to understand that different divisions and different parts of the organization structure in our organization deliver different things. How many people have a documented org structure? Organization structure किसने बनाया? भाई तो ये तो problem की बात है ना? How do you know who does what here? I mean, everybody does everything, right? Or whoever does what depends on my mood today. I will tell you do this, today you will do this. Why? Because I am the boss, right? Anyway, that being said, let's say your organization may not be large enough to have an org structure, but if it is, but rather if it isn't, then at least let's clearly understand who does what. Now there are 7 parts, at least 7 parts to this. The first is marketing. Their job is what? Lead generation, right? How many people here can say, we generate so many leads a week? Nah? Okay. The job of sales is to do what? Revenue generation. You'll spend lots of money here. You hire people here, you buy software for this, you'll do all kinds of stuff for this because it's revenue, right? How many visits can a salesman make on one day? 5. In a small city, 5. In a large city, 3, maybe 2, right? How many customers can a marketer reach on one day? It's a multiplication. So that's your scale engine, not this. This will close what that generates. So you need to have that, right? And that's one of the big issues that we need to talk about. The third is operations. Let's be clear about what your operational plan is all about. It's about how you're delivering your goods and services to your customer, right? Again, who does what? The fourth part of the plan is product development, R&D, call it what you will. To remain relevant in the market, you need to bring new stuff into the market every year. Some might argue, listen, I'm in distribution, and so, my product is made by the principal, and I don't do the product development. Agreed, understood. In that sort of scenario, look at how you can enhance the channels through which you sell. Look at the territories that you can sell. Look at the products that you can focus on. Be innovative all the time, because otherwise, somebody is going to notice what you're doing and outdo you. Yeah? And then you become irrelevant. So the steps are simple, right? I stay stagnant, I become irrelevant. Once I become irrelevant, it's only a matter of time before I vanish, or people don't even remember me. I come from the city of Delhi. I lived my childhood there. We ate all our pizzas and burgers at a chain called Nirula's. Anybody heard of Nirula's? Yeah? Anybody go to a Nirula's these days? I don't even know where they are anymore. Why? They didn't grow. They became irrelevant. Well, let me put it this way. They did grow, but they grew too slowly. The McDonald's of the world and the Pizza Huts of the world and the KFCs of the world grew much faster. Guess what happened? Nirula's became irrelevant. When Nirula's became irrelevant, we now can't even figure out where the hell they are. I don't know if they exist anymore. I think they do. Yeah. But I don't even know where they are. So that's the risk we run. So you've got to be relevant, and you've got to create all this. Then you've got to have essentially your measurement systems and your compliance systems in place. And the last of them, perhaps the most important, is human resources, because it's HR that's going to do this. Don't worry about this. You want the slides, I'll give them to you. I don't use them for anything else. I just custom built them here, so I'll give them to you. And your job in this whole thing isn't any of these things. You create these processes for the team to run. It is these people in these responsibilities in your org structure when you build one who do this, because what is your job? Your job is this. Managing strategy, managing functions, managing people. Yeah? That's what your job is. Wow. Okay. Let me explain what you might be missing out when you don't do this. Don't worry too much about the numbers or the scale or anything out here, because it's only an example. But I'm just saying, I'll pick one. I won't pick all 7. I'll just pick one. If you put these systems in place, what could happen? Look, most business owners here will know how many customers you have. Yes or no? Yeah? Most of them will know what their revenue is. Maybe not to the last digit, but yeah, you have a fairly good idea. You know how much profit you make? Fewer people. Yeah, I know. We make enough. You buy a new car, whatever it is. But if someone were to ask you more, deeper points like what's your break-even point, or what's your net profit, what's your gross profit, it might be a bit of a. But it's okay. I'm assuming all of you know this. But these are just results. A result is not something you can do much about. You have to do the things that go into the result. So let's start putting some numbers to this. Okay? You look at these green things, we talked about them just now. Customers, outcome. Revenue, outcome. Profit, outcome. If you look at the white ones, number of leads, can you influence it? Can I generate it? Can I increase the conversion rate? Can I look at the number of transactions that get generated from each customer every year and try to improve that? Can I look at the average dollar value per sale and try to improve that? Cross-sell, upsell, do whatever the hell it is, right? Or sell a bigger product. Profit margins, can I do something about that? You can do something about these things. You can't do anything about customers, revenue, or profit. Okay, let's put some numbers to this. Let's say you're generating 4,000 leads. Now, I asked that question. I'm not going to ask it again. How many of you actually measure how many leads you generate in a week? I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody does. And this is probably a highest leverage activity, marketing, right? Let's say your conversion rate is 25%. So how many customers will you get? 1,000. What a smart answer. What a bunch of mathematicians here. Okay? Now, if I multiply this by 2 transactions that you do with every customer that you have, for example, right? And the average dollar sale that I make is $100. What would that do? What would that be in terms of revenue? Yeah, it will be 100 into 2 into 1,000. So 200,000, exactly, right? And then if I say my profit margin is, I had put 25%, but somebody came and said, yeah, they'll get disconnected. Hamare to 6-7% margin hota hai. So I changed it to 7%. Fair enough. So I put 7%. So if I make 7% margin on $200,000 of revenue, what would my profit be? $14,000. Simple enough so far, right? Now let's start looking at something else. Have you ever heard, yeah, how will we grow at the numbers that the company is asking us to grow at? Market is not growing at that rate. Competition is very stiff. Competition has products that might outperform our products, this, that, and the other, right? So हम 15%, 20%, 30% कैसे grow करेंगे? Shalabh is saying, भाई average 1000 machine बिकेगी 2047 में. आज कितनी है? 70. 70 से 2000 परसेंटेज कितनी होती है? 120-130% ग्रोथ होगी, राइट? इन टर्म्स ऑफ एवरेज मशीन्स बीइंग सोल्ड. 120-130 अगर आपको लगानी है तो भैया हर साल में 15-20% तो ग्रो करोगे, जब भी तो जाके होगा. मगर मार्केट ही नहीं ग्रो हो रही, तो क्या करेंगे हम? 15-20-30 तो होता ही नहीं. मैं कहता हूँ 10 तो हो जाएगा. 10 कर सकते हो? धक्का मार के 10% कर लोगे. आया ना? तो मैं कमिटमेंट थोड़ी मांग रहा हूँ यार, मैं कोई स्प्रेडशीट थोड़ी लगा रहा हूँ, वो इनका काम है, मेरा काम नहीं है. चलो हम ये कहते हैं कि ये पूरे नीचे वाले पे 10% नहीं लगाते, हम ऊपर से शुरू हो जाते हैं. 10% अगर लीड्स इंक्रीज करूं कितनी हो गई? अगर कन्वर्जन रेट को 25% 10% इंक्रीज करूं तो कितना जाएगा? राइट? अब ये क्या हुआ? 4400 इंटू 27.5. ये 10% नहीं है भाई, हम ये 21% है, 21%. राइट? आगे बढ़ते हैं. इसको 10% नंबर ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस पर कस्टमर 2.2 कर लूंगा. कैन आई? पॉसिबल? नॉट दैट टफ, right? Can I take the average dollar sale to $110? Doesn't look that frightening, does it? Right? When I multiply all this, what's the revenue? What is 92,820 divided by 200,000? 46%, not 15%, not 10%. It's 46%, right? And if I make 5% into 7 point, sorry, that should be 7, that should read 7, 6 point whatever it was in the previous slide, and I make that 7.7%, this becomes 22,547. What is 6,547 divided by 14,000? छोड़ो ना, मैं ही बता देता हूँ यार. 46% increase in revenue, 61% increase in profitability. Forget that यार, this is why you do business. Mercedes इससे आती है, उससे नहीं. Think about it. Think about it. If you start playing with your numbers, if you start looking at each of these things, अब आप बोलोगे माथुर साहब स्टेज पे खड़े होके एसी वाले कमरे में जहां अंधेरा सामने किसी की शक्ल दिख नहीं रही है, जो भी एक्सप्रेशन आप कुछ भी बोलते जाओ यार. अरे मत करो 10% यार, 8 कर लो हर चीज को, 7 कर लो, 5 कर लो यार, मतलब 30-35%, 30 मैं भीख नहीं मांग रहा हूं. ठीक है ना, 5 भी कर लोगे तो 31% प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी में ग्रोथ आ जाएगा भाई. इन्वेस्टमेंट है, टाइम लगेगा, मार्केटिंग का बंदा चाहिए, नंबर देखना पड़ेगा, क्या रेट ऑफ कन्वर्जन है वो देखना पड़ेगा, कितने ट्रांजैक्शन हो रहे हैं देखना पड़ेगा. हर आदमी कर सकता है. ये केस कंस्ट्रक्शंस का काम नहीं है कि मर्सिडीज आपकी आएगी, केस की नहीं आएगी. ठीक है ना. So please let's just focus on this kind of an investment. The 4 facts you can't be in denial about, because if you don't do these things, it leads to a self-employment trap. आप खुद के एम्प्लॉय बन के रह जाएंगे, सारे दिन मेहनत करते रहेंगे ताकि आपके एम्प्लॉयज को तनख्वाह मिलती रहे, आपके लैंडलॉर्ड को किराया मिलता रहे और आपके सप्लायर्स को पेमेंट मिलती रहे. फिर उस चक्कर में मत पड़ो यार. That's not why you're in this business, right? These 4 things are stable. Businesses will require all 7 systems to work together. एक आधे सिस्टम से नहीं होगा. मैंने मार्केटिंग लगा ली जी, लोग नहीं रखे, नहीं होगा. You got to put those systems together. Somebody said right at the beginning, that table I think, building a business is a team sport and building teams is an investment, right? So you got to start looking at how you do this. There was some discussion about लोग छोड़ जाते हैं. यार देखो, आजकल के जो लाइफस्टाइल है ना, आजकल की जो लाइफ है, you can't even keep your spouse for too many years. यार अब कहाँ एम्प्लॉय की बात कर रहे हैं? किस दुनिया में हो यार? What are we talking about here? So it's okay. What we have to do is build some systems underneath, which is your role, by the way, to make sure that as new people come in, there was talk about that too. There was talk about, you know, how do we have people doing onboarding and stuff like that. It's got to be more than just that, right? तो अब हम क्या करेंगे? खड़े हो जाओ. Please stand. I love what I do. I love what I do. Puneet, aja. So I love what I do. I love what I do. But I'm going to learn and implement the 7 systems. Learn and implement the 7 systems. Whoosh! Sit. So what the heck do I have to do as a business owner, okay? Let's have a look at this. You have to manage strategy, manage people, and manage functions. 3 things. If you're doing more than this, right? If you're doing more than this, then you're spending a lot of time in your business. Okay, what are these things? You've got to set the financial goals for the business, obviously. That's your job. But you also have to set the functional goals for each of those 7 functions. What's marketing going to do? What's sales going to do? What's finance going to do? What's HR going to do? What's this going to do? What's that going to do? That's going to create your big plan. And then you've got this is also a very big one. What is your business model that's going to get you the profitability that you need? ये नहीं कि एक बिजनेस मॉडल है, चला जा रहा है, कभी से चला आ रहा है, वो ठीक है, उसमें 8-10% होता है. Business models are the game of this decade, perhaps of even the last decade, because everything has got so commoditized. What's your differentiation यार? भाई Amazon से जो पेन मिलता है लक्सर का, वही लक्सर का पेन लक्सर की दुकान से भी मिलता है. तो वो चलता है इतना, Amazon से धनाधन लोग खरीद रहे हैं, लक्सर की दुकान में कोई जाना पसंद नहीं करता. क्यों? बिजनेस मॉडल चेंज हो गया, बाइंग प्रेफरेंस चेंज हो गई. अब आपका क्या बिजनेस मॉडल है? ठीक है, आई टुक अ कंज्यूमर एग्जांपल, बट इट्स नॉट डिफरेंट इन द इंडस्ट्रियल वर्ल्ड ईदर. दिस इज अ बिग वन. managing people. This is the really big one. I want to talk about 5 things here because that clock is now winking at me. Okay? The first thing is to establish culture. The conversation I heard here told me that we haven't perhaps invested enough in building organizational culture. What's organizational culture? What's our collective behavior? What language do we use in doing business? What data do we look at? And what's the way in which we do all our business reviews? These are 4 things I'm saying. Whose job is to create culture? Yours, as a business owner. Because I can tell you one thing. Every team has culture. If you didn't build your team's culture, somebody else did. और एक टीम में एक ही गुंडा होता है और ये जरूरी नहीं है कि वो गुंडा बॉस हो. आपको अपनी टीम में, I'm sorry to say, but थोड़ा सा गुंडा बनना पड़ेगा, right? So establishing culture is one of those things. Hiring, of course, is big. These are the 5 systems that that need to be built. And then we have a person in the human resources team or a team in the human resources organization that manages all of these things. I am talking about hiring great talent. I am talking about developing people, training, coaching, feedback. How many people actually, everybody thinks they give feedback, but do they give constructive or actionable feedback? Hey, you did a great job this morning, huh? Keep it up. Thank you, sir. आज वो बंदा गिर गया था, उसको मैंने उठाया था, उसकी बात कर रहा है, या वो मीटिंग में मैंने थोड़ी आग लग रही थी, वो आग बुझाई थी, उसकी बात कर रहा है. Which behavior is he giving me feedback about? Be specific. Whether it's positive feedback or it's negative feedback, be specific about it, and treat feedback urgently. Feedback that's given more than 24 hours later is no feedback at all. It means nothing. Right? Coaching is a bigger subject. We can talk about it at a later point. This is a big one too. Why do you reward people? I walk in and say, sir, how much increment do you give? हाँ 10-15% के बीच में दे देते हैं. कब देते हो? जब उसका 1 साल कंप्लीट हो जाता है, मैं वो आ जाता है, बोलता है सर 1 साल कंप्लीट हो गया, मैं इंक्रीमेंट दे देता हूँ. कोई रिव्यू करते हो? कोई सिस्टम है? कोई KRA हैं? कोई KPI है? किस चीज़ के अगेंस्ट इवेल्युएट कर रहे हो? कब प्रमोशन देते हो? कब इंक्रीमेंट देते हो? कब बोनस देते हो? कुछ लॉजिक है? बोनस नहीं, हम दिवाली पे बोनस दे देते हैं. किसी ने काम किया है नहीं किया. जिसने काम किया है वो सोचेगा यार नहीं करता फिर भी मिल जाता. जिसने नहीं किया वो लगा छोड़ के क्यों जाऊं, मुझे तो वैसे ही मिल जाएगा. You know, you've got to get some of these structures into the system, and this, we all find this to be the toughest thing, but you have to get rid of the wrong people. Yeah, because people are going to create your business. I want you to have empathy for your people because of this. Just be kind to your people, okay? Just take good care of them and manage the functions, the systems that you put into the functions. It says time's up. I have just one more thing to cover. It's back. I focus on a lot of things, but now I'm going to focus on strategy, people, and functions with a whoosh. All right, sit down. Okay. And the skills you must enhance. 3 skills that we need to look at. Let's enhance clarity, capability, and courage. As a businessman, I think the third one is really, really important. Not that the others are not. What are the financial goals of the business? I go blue in the face talking about this. कभी भी किसी के साथ गोल सेट करने की कोशिश करते हैं, वो बोलता है ये गोल है, मगर ये भी है और ये भी है. अरे भाई, एक गोल पूछा था, 3 मत बताओ. क्लैरिटी लेके आओ. अगर क्लैरिटी नहीं होगी, अगर अर्जुन ने बेचारे ने उस टाइम पे ऐसे वो फोकस करके ऐसे तीर ना चलाया होता तो हो सकता है शरूपनखा से शादी हो गई होती उसकी. हाँ या ना? गलत जगह लग गया होता है तो क्या करते भाई? पता है ना अर्जुन ऐसे क्या किया था उसने? ऐसे मच्छी की आंख देख के मारा था. कौन बीवी मिली थी? द्रौपदी. वो तो किस्मत फूटी थी कि माँ ने देखे बिना ही कुछ बोल दिया. बट एनीवे, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट मैटर. सो फाइनेंशियल अरे नहीं, अर्जुन महाभारत में था. हाँ अच्छा, वो स्वरूप. So you gotta look at the functional goals of each of the functions, right? वो महाभारत में ही बता दो यार, कोई मतलब कोई तो होगी. Functional goals of each. So when you look at capability, I think it's important to see how. I think it's important to learn what business models are. How do I look at my business model? How do I evaluate it? How do I modify it? How do I create a new one? It's a skill, right? How to design functional systems? मैं तो यहाँ बोल के चल दूँगा. I will say, you have to create HR system. What the hell does that mean? What does the KRA look like? What does the KPI look like? What does the performance evaluation system look like? When do I give a promotion? When do I give an increment? When do I give a, what is that? वो क्या होता है गुंजन जो improvement के लिए letter होती है? PIP. When do I give a PIP? How do I write a PIP? You need to have these skills and how to hire, develop, appraise, and fire people. Plus, I think courage. How do we give to our employees? I hate to say this, but most of us give once, ask questions 10 times. I think it's important to start. The moment you start doing marketing, at least one thing will start working. You start giving to your customers. You give, you get. Anybody here in BNI? Yeah? Givers gain. Givers gain, right? So I'm talking about that. You give, you gain. You've got to learn that you got to have the courage to do that. To make tough decisions. What I'm asking you to do, change your mindsets, do new things here are all tough decisions. And most importantly, to invest in your business. Most of us feel this investment is an expenditure. How many people actually think marketing is an expenditure? A lot of people think marketing is expense. A lot of people think human resource policies are an expense and so on. They are not. You put in $1, you get out 10. That's an investment. It's not an expenditure, right? So, fourth and last, whoosh. You get sick of me. I'll get off the stage after that, okay? So, I have plenty of skills, but I'm going to develop 3 new ones, and they're called clarity, capability, and courage. With a whoosh! All right, you can sit down. So the 4 things, 4 key takeaways, 4 skills, 4 investments. Focus on your business, focus on working in your business, on your business, not in it. I think about scale, growth, and things like that, and not so much about the operation. And to do that, you need to create the organization, create the processes to be able to do that. Learn and implement the 7 systems that we talked about. As the business owner, your job is to manage strategy, people, and functions. Your job is not to manage the operations of the business. And you'll need to build your capability to do that.